Salute Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing. Let's talk about it tonight as Mikal Bridges unveiled at MSG. We're buzzing, finally, and we'll hear what Mikal had to say, and the rest of the interview will bring you up to speed with the latest on the centre front, with Ian Begley reporting that the Jazz, Danny Ainge, wanting multiple first-round picks now. The price is going up. What is Danny Ainge doing? What are the Knicks' options? The Knicks have interest in a Bertans, the sharpshooter, reports Mike Scotto. We'll talk about that fit with the New York Knicks. And we'll continue our talk on Summer League as we expect the team to get announced any moment, with Rokas Jokubaitis going to compete now in Summer League. And we'll go through what your expectations are for the upcoming season. We'll talk about each player and some realistic expectations for the season ahead. But welcome in, guys. Appreciate you for joining us. The chat is going to be buzzing tonight. Mikal Bridges, the Iron Man, is here in the Mecca, unveiled, right? We didn't hear from Leon. Of course, we didn't hear from Tibbs, but it was all about Mikal Bridges today, unveiled. And Mikal was so excited, you could see it, man. He talked about, the draft and what could have been coming to the Mecca. His mother was there, sitting in the front as well. There was jokes had, but there was a lot of smiles too. And it just feels great that Mikal Bridges is officially unveiled now, wearing the number one, guys. Number one, the one bridge, as Mikal dons former number one. Of course, Amari Stoudemire and Bobby Portis also wore the number one too. Good choice. You guys let me know. What are your thoughts on the number selection for Mikal Bridges? The Iron Man, as I have in the graphic, right? He's played 474 consecutive games, and that's what's got me, the most excited, because we need depth, but also we need guys to depend on in the postseason, right? We know it's going to be a buzzing regular season. The Knicks are going to go all out, for the number one seed. I've got no doubt that the Knicks will try to get that top seed and win as many games as possible. And Mikal Bridges is going to be there, like Iron Man too. He's a runner-up defensive player of the year in the voting, and a 21-22 all-defensive first-team player, averaging about 15 points, 50% from the field, close to, and 38% from three, right, in his 6 seasons so far. We've talked about it, guys. He should have been a Knick, but now he is finally a New York Knick. Mikal Bridges here. And let's talk about what he had to say, right? We'll hear from that as well. But the two other main stories coming out of today, which I want to get your thoughts, right? This live stream is all about the chat, getting your thoughts on this situation. Reporting Hoops Hype, Mike Scotto, the New York Knicks have interest in power forward Bertans, right? The sharpshooter, I think, could be had for the taxpayer mid-level, which is about $5.2 million. The Knicks might not even need to use all of that. You might need to use a portion of that. And maybe he's going to help us out a little. Maybe the intention or the hope is that he could be a salary filler later at the deadline as well. Because remember, guys, as the roster's quite full right now with a lot of guys we want to keep, we don't want to really send anyone out who's notable at the deadline. If we do want to make another move or a future upgrade, having Bertans under salary could be a desirable piece and a salary filler later in the season, right? So that's interesting to me when I heard that. He's not the name that really popped off the page, but we'll look at some highlights too. He got hot at various points throughout the season. Of course, he's one of the streakiest and deadliest sharpshooters in the league. So it does make sense that the Knicks could have interest in a power forward that can shoot, catch and shoot, stretch the floor out. And I do think that, he could be a valuable piece for the Knicks and maybe for someone else in a trade if we swing that. Other bit of news is also Danny Ainge. Now, as we reported in the morning, we talked about what Begley had to say regarding last night, and that, Jazz wanting a first round pick, people around the league are saying. But now, right after the Mikal Bridges interview, Ian Begley, doing great work for SNY, did confirm that he has heard that the Jazz rebuffed an offer. He didn't say it was the Knicks, but he said there was an offer on the table that the Jazz had for Kessler, and it was 2 first-round picks. And the Jazz rebuffed that as well. And Begley also clarified that the quality of those picks were unknown, right? There is various degrees of, first-round picks. Guys, obviously there's various protections and other things as well, but should we pivot, right? Obviously we do have the Detroit first or the Washington first, which are heavily protected. I saw a lot of you guys said in the comments, just throw them in. They're not that useful. I get it, right? If you can get Kessler for one of those, right, it's a no-brainer. But 2 firsts, it's going to be very interesting to see. Is Danny playing games? Would you walk away, right? Just like we did with Quentin Grimes. Like, what should we do with that situation? Obviously, we do need to address the big man spot. There is still a hold-up with Precious Achiuwa. And on that front, Ian also said that Precious has offers on the table from contenders. Now, those offers, we're not sure on the level, but the Knicks can still exceed the cap to bring Precious back. Is he going to be part of a sign and trade, though? The Knicks need a traditional center. We don't really need undersized guys. I would love Precious to return as a depth piece, as a power forward / makeshift center. But we do need a more traditional center to back up Mitchie. Of course, Jericho's in the gym. We saw a video. He's putting in some work as well, working on his little hook shot, little floater, and also a little mid-range J, as well as he continues to work out in the summer as well. I mean, I don't know how much the Knicks are going to trust him as a permanent backup, but right now he is, the next best option alongside Ariel Hukporti, who's now officially here on a 2-way deal as well. So we get that. We'll continue that talk tonight, get your thoughts. And of course, I want to talk about early season expectations. Now, Bridges is in the building. What are we going to expect from him? How's the offense going to look? What is the minimum that you expect from each guy? Let's go through it tonight and talk about it and chop it up with the best chat in the biz. Salute Jet Life, Michael, J. Cruz, what up? Suzanne, Michael Drake, and Jet Life. Let's go. Coaches in the building. Salute. On the Walker front, Suzanne says Walker is definitely not worth 2 draft picks, or 2 first-round picks, I'm assuming. Appreciate you for that. It's a mixed bag. A lot of people are really, really high on Walker Kessler. I watched him in Summer League late last night as they played on the West Coast in the Utah Summer League, and he went up against Zach Edey, the 7'5" behemoth, and Kessler had a good game. Now, there's no doubt he's got talent, he's young, and he's got a bright future too. I would love the Knicks to get him. Now, I don't want them to part with Deuce McBride. Definitely not. If we can get Precious, one of those Detroit protecteds, throw in Rokas, throw in McCullough if you need, I'd do that. But if it's one of those Detroit, Washington protecteds, that'll be preferred for me. But I don't think Danny Ainge is going to do that. Looks like he's really starting to play games with this situation. And we have seen Ainge play hardball with Spider, and he's prepared to wait. So you want to get into a game of poker with Danny Ainge, right? I mean, they've got nothing to lose. They're a bad team. They're hoping to tank. He's going to drag this thing out. And that's what's frustrating for me too, guys. But we do need to get onto it and bring in a center. We do need to get a body ASAP. Yeah, coach, as I said this morning in the video too, Kevin McCullough had a scope after the season. One of the reasons why Kevin McCullough slipped, a lot of people are unaware They just thought, hey, 56 pick. But McCullough is a better player than the 56 pick. But he slipped because of not only because of the interrupted season and missing games with the health concerns, but he also had a non-pre-draft process, no combine, wasn't able to do workouts with people, just interviews, was on crutches for a lot of those pre-draft interviews, and we don't know his status. I'm going to lean towards he's not going to be risked for summer league, right? Obviously, it ties into the fact that he hasn't got a contract yet. He's the last remaining rookie that has not got a deal yet as well. Do I think he stays? Yeah, sure. I think he will get a two-way. But I do think Kevin McCullough could be part of a package if we are trying to, sign him and or move him before he does do that. But he'll probably take the final, two-way. But I don't think his health concerns are too serious. He's going to take a little bit of time. Obviously, the scope is a more minor surgery, but long term, he does have some questions. And I think he will get the last two-way, if I'm guessing. I think that's a fairly solid guess to assume. There is one more two-way spot, but of course, Huck Pority has got one now too. What's up, Johnny? Let's get it. Jay Cruz is in the building. Throw out your questions, guys. Happy to answer it as we continue our content in this off-season. The New York Knicks off-season has been buzzing, right? We have won the off-season, as I said, and I want to talk about early season expectations, right? We'll start with Mikal Bridges. I mean, as I pulled up the graphic before, courtesy of MSG, right? The best expectation is he's going to play, right? He will play, guys, too. He doesn't have to be the number one option. We've got options, baby. We've got ammunition with Brunson now, Randall, DiVincenzo off your bench. You've got, of course, got OG Anunoby that shot the ball really well. But Mikal Bridges is going to bring some creation off the dribble. I think he's going to bring his length, but I think he's going to obviously shoot the lights out, 40+%. He's going to get better looks than he's ever had, right? Talk about those years he had in Phoenix. That was prior to Kevin Durant. It was with Devin Booker, a few other solid pieces. But really, he's never going to have played on a squad like the New York Knicks, right? When we're talking about Mikal Bridges, he's going to get the best kind of looks. I expect him to shoot 40%. Again, right? That field goal percentage, I'm expecting him to probably shoot above 48% as well. He will get to the line, right? He'll close out. He'll drive on the closeouts. And they will have to close out real hard with Mikal. And so I think he'll probably average closer to the same, 14, 15, maybe 17 points around there. And he's obviously going to be a floor spacer. To buzzer beaters in the place to be, salute G-Man and Regular Joe. Welcome in, guys. The pleasure is all mine, guys. I love chopping it up with everyone. This off-season's been amazing, and I've never been more hyped for a season, man. Guys, G-Man, I've never been this hyped for the start of a regular season. When the Knicks were competing in 99, 94, I was young, man. I was a lot younger, obviously, but, it was the expectation that we were going to be good every year, and, there was excitement, but it wasn't this level of hype, too, with the squad we're building, right? I honestly feel, in terms of team expectations, that we can win the number one seed. Obviously, we'll talk about postseason and matching up against Boston, but I do think we could win the number one seed with the depth we have, and we are built to win in the regular season and postseason, too, especially now that, Bridges is here, officially unveiled. Now, as I said, the interesting part that popped this morning is that Bertans is on the New York Knicks radar. He's a solid player in terms of the skill set. He's a specialist. But being a salary filler, I do think that Bertans, could be valuable to some teams at the deadline. But we do need some extra depth at the 4-5. Now, Bertans is a 4, of course, but with Precious potentially mulling offers from a contender, that situation is a bit cloudy in terms of knowing whether Precious is going to be here. He hasn't taken the deal yet. Assuming the Knicks have offered a deal, it's probably starting at 16 million for 3 years, somewhere around there. A fairly decent, modest deal though. Maybe he wants to also, see if he can get more minutes somewhere. So this makes a lot of sense for me with the Bertans, right? We need some 4 depth. He can stroke it. He could play alongside Julius, alongside OG. And he's one of the best shooters from 3 in the league that we have seen. Yeah, I'm going to bring up some highlights here as you see here. Basket News tweeted out he made 17 of 33 threes in his last 5 games. This was back in March. So he is a flamethrower. We all know he can get hot, and he can stroke it and help this team out. So, look, we're not going to find the best names available for the 5.2 million, and I think this would be a solid move. I wouldn't be mad if we do get a Bertans with that. And talking about other names off the board, we'll look at some free agent names available now. Paul Reed, guys, what do you think? Now the fact that he is off the board now, he's cleared waivers, but the Pistons have claimed him before clearing waivers. So Detroit step in, they get a guy that was talked about by the Knicks. Now I was never a fan of Paul Reed because we saw him in the playoffs and he didn't perform. So I'm okay with that. Michael says, I like Bertans. Good evening, Sherwin. What's up? Michael says, this is the most hype level of anticipation. Absolutely. D. Linder, what's up? Bridges was on a team that went to the finals. He's had great looks. Appreciate you for that. Maybe my memory of the Phoenix Suns is a bit cloudy, but I think he's going to get excellent looks with the Knicks. Susan says, but Bridges is so excited about playing with the Knicks and the Garden. He fits right in. He fits like a glove, really. I'm so happy for the trade. Obviously, we gave up those picks, but now we get a guy who's available, and we get a guy who fits the culture as well. And Leon was all smiles. As we're about to look at the free agent names in a minute. But look at Tibbs and Leon presenting Bridges with the number 1 jersey. Great selection, right? Number 1 Bridges, number 1 in the league in games played, in non-games missed, right? Mr. Durability and Mr. Iron Man, right? The perfect complement next to OG, right? We know OG's dynamite when he's playing, but when he's missing, we need something. Yeah, and Bridges is there. Yeah, you can stroke it, Tariq. Pause. Good one. But look, Bertans is not athletic. He gives us a bit of length. He can shoot it. But look at these names. Tyus Jones, what's up with him? Markelle Fultz, right? We're going to talk a little bit more about Rokas. Well, hopefully we get some Summer League announcements officially. Hopefully tonight, while we're live right now with the best chat in the biz. Thank you for joining us. Smash that like button. And let's talk about it, guys. Throw your questions out here. Who do you want to see the Knicks get, right? If we could get Fultz for that taxpayer mid-level, I think that would be a solid move. He's athletic. He can score. But maybe they've got plans with Rokas. Okoro is kind of the anti Bertans. He can't shoot a lick. He can't space the floor out, but he's more athletic. But we have a lot of wings. You got Lonnie Walker. I've been a fan of him, but he's been inconsistent. He's still trying to find his feet in the league. Of course, our guy, Precious Achua, is still on that list. He should be probably higher up. That list should Precious, man. As days go by, I'm getting a little more nervous in terms of the Precious situation, right? Are we trying to get a little cute, trying to wait on him to execute a move or a sign and trade, right? I won't be surprised if he skips if we don't, sort something out soon. I'm sure we've talked to his representation, and they're fully, across what our plans are, but we're still waiting, man. We're playing the waiting game. Kyle Lowry, I'm okay with not going for Kyle. Assuming Rokas looks solid in Summer League, Kolek looks good. We got Deuce. Let's see how the guard situation plays out. But I do like Markel Fultz. He's a little bit more athletic. Obviously he's got some injury history, but Kyle Lowry's 38 as well. So you're banking on a 38-year-old. You may as well take that upswing with the youthfulness of Markel Fultz. Sadiq Bey, again, a guy who could fit in at the 4 spot. I think that would be a good pickup, but he's probably going to get more money, man. $5 million is peanuts. I'm cool on Spencer Dinwiddie. Gordon Hayward can come for the minimum if he wants, but I'm not using any part of the mid-level. Jay Crowder, it's a big no. Marcus Morris would be a plus. I think he would be a plus for the 4 spot on a minimum deal. If we probably lost Precious, he could be a good replacement. DSJ, don't think you want to, rekindle the Knicks action again. But of course, Paul Reed now is off the board. So Sherwin says we don't need a wing. We need a real backup 4. Yeah, who would you like to get, Sherwin, out of those names? Marcus Morris. Bertans is a 4. Does he classify as a real 4? Not in terms of size, Khalid says Achua and Kessler or bust. The names aren't pretty, man, out there. The other names, Paul Reed's gone. Nick Richards. Look, if we can't get Kessler, I think Nick Richards would be the next best option. He's a little underwhelming as well, but he rebounds really well, brings the length, will help us protect the rim, those things. Are they higher on Jericho Sims more than others? That is going to be interesting to see as well, but obviously we bring in Keita Bates-Diop. We talked about him a lot in the last episode as well. We broke down some film, guys, with Keita Bates-Diop. He brings good length for the 4 spot, but he's not a traditional power forward. He's more of a longer, sort of athletic guy, a combo forward, and a jumbo wing is Keita Bates-Diop, but he can shoot the ball as well. So I'm glad we got him. And these are some of the free agent names available. Let us know your thoughts. As again, those that are just joining us, the reports out of Ian Begley, SNY, is that Ainge is, proving to be difficult on the Kessler front. The Jazz have rebuffed an offer of 2 first-round draft picks. Right, the quality of those picks are unknown. One might have reasonable protections on it. One might have been heavily protected. We don't know. In other words, there might have been very, very weak first-round draft picks. I get it. What is Ainge really looking for? If it's not a bright, promising young talent, it's got to be a draft pick, right? I don't think, the likes of, Precious Achua is going to whet the appetite of Danny Ainge. It's got to be either Deuce McBride or, good first-round picks. My fear is the price is going up because, Kessler played really well the other night. Right, so Walker Kessler played well in Summer League against Zach Edey, too. Let's hear a little bit of Mikal Bridges' interview with Monica McNutt, which aired at 6 p.m.
When you got the call, what's the first thing that went through your mind?
Probably couldn't believe it happened. That's probably the biggest thing. I was just like, there's no way. Like, this is crazy. Like, I literally my tweet, like, this is crazy. Like, this is like, that's probably my real initial reaction. So, but definitely excited though. Like really excited for the moment and being a Knick and playing MSG and all that.
Man. In the words of my guy Ron, awesome to see the excitement coming out, and I will hear more from Mikal Bridges later. We'll go through the telling quotes that was put out. Obviously, it's all about winning, though. For me, this is the key. We embody how to win games. There's a lot of sacrificing to win, guys. We've had some players in the past that weren't willing to make sacrifices. And what we got right now is a blessing because so many of these guys are sacrificing their games to win, right? Reports that OG Anunoby has always wanted a bigger offensive role. Well, guess what? There's more weapons now, and he's going to have to bide his time. Obviously, Julius is going to be a bully down low, but he's got more outlets to kick it back out for the three ball. Brunson scoring is probably going to go down a little because, he doesn't need to score as much, and we don't really need to wear Brunson down for that. So, right, Brunson's averages might go down a little with Bridges coming in. Don't forget, guys like DiVincenzo, Hart, and Deuce could play, high-level minutes off the bench coming in as well, as the bench and the starters might interchange as well, Obviously, we don't know if any player is going to miss any time, but if there is, there'll be guys off the bench that can step in a major way. B. Johnson, what's up? I got a feeling somebody will be cut loose and we'll be able to sign them too. I love the positive vibes, man. Appreciate you. Let me know what kind of player, what position do you think, what name could be interesting for you. But yeah, Tariq, the Kevin Knox pick. I mean, it should have been Mikal Bridges, man. But I mean, Knox won that. He beat Miles Bridges in the infamous workout, and the rest is history now. But we got our guy too. What's up, the Autism Boy Cottage? Appreciate you for joining us. Welcome in, John. Says if we can't get Kessler or Nick Richards, maybe you can see Orlando Robinson or Omer Yurtseven as guys. Yep. I think, we're getting obviously closer to the bottom of the well, bottom of the barrel. I think, Leon's always looking at trades first because it's proven and it's names that we can target. I think if things go south with negotiations, then we'll pivot. But as we're sitting right now, we're not in that bad of a situation. I mean, I'm a glass half full guy, and I've been talking about I don't think we're that desperate. Are we going to bring in one more body that has to be a big man? Absolutely. We have ways. We've got a veteran minimum. We've got the $5.2 million exception, or we could execute a sign and trade as well if Precious wants to move on. So we've got ways to execute, bringing in one more guy, right? It might not be a big name. It might be underwhelming, but just a guy who can give us a little bit more depth, right? But with Huck Porty now signed, Sims here, and assuming Precious is going to come back, there's bodies there. Mitch is the starting center. So we're not, I don't think we're as desperate as, some people make out. We're going to bring in one more body. Absolutely, we need to. But in terms of being desperate enough to give up, 2 firsts, that's just going to hurt the future. Now, some guys in the comment section also made points about, picks, F the picks, go all in. We're all in. We need to get our guy. One of the things that Leon doesn't do is short-sighted moves. You need future picks for future moves down the line, right? Do not mortgage the future all the way. Now, we have sent out 5 firsts for Mikal Bridges. We do have a few more to play with as well. Is Kessler a kind of guy that you go all in for that? I think it'll be short-sighted because, we can get another guy. If we could get Kessler for a solid price, then do it. Then do it. If it's one protected first, some salary filler, by all means, I'm down for that. but don't get too short-sighted, because what if somebody goes down mid-season and you need to swing a move to bring in some extra help? You need those first up your sleeve. So I don't think Rose want to be too short-sighted with that. Yeah, and if we do got to roll into the season with, Sims, Huckporty, Precious as backups, then so be it, right? Regular season, nobody wins a championship or loses a championship in the regular season, right? We have time. Agent says Ainge is still a disgruntled veteran Boston player who hates the New York Knicks. Agent, you stole the words out of my mouth, man. Who could forget? There was reports that the Jazz front office was ticked off, were the words used, when the Knicks front office sat courtside to scout Jalen Brunson with Dallas as well. They thought there was some tampering going on. Danny Ainge has never lived that down since. So, there's a guy in there that wants to fleece the Knicks. Johnny says, I feel bad for Precious. He's hanging out there. He's got offers from contenders, reporting Ian Begley. So look for something to happen real soon. As Mike Scotto's been on the money with a lot of Knicks news as well, and he says we're looking at Davis Bertans. So that is telling. AP says, look at the look on his face at the press conference. He was like getting the girlfriend he always wanted. Nice one, man. Nicely put. I think he's just in a better situation. I think obviously the being with his boys is one thing, but being on a winning team is everything. Dimitri says Ainge is outsmarting himself. Teams in the playoffs have more draft capital than Utah. He's getting too smart for his good. Let's see if he drives some people away. Kessler's a nice piece, but he ain't 2-3 first round picks worthy. One pick, yeah, you could make the case. You could make a solid case. Prezi says, I believe Leon is currently working on something we will not expect. It will likely involve a sign and trade if it is a player better than him. Yeah, that is the hold-up. No doubt they are doing their work. They're working the phones, guys. It's telling to me that they haven't just, signed Precious, right? It's a very clear-cut situation with Achua. We can, offer him a standard deal. We can match any other deal, but he's obviously out there. He's talking to teams, and he has firm offers too. So part of me is thinking like you, that Leon might have said, look, sit tight. We're trying to figure out, the right fit to bring in. You might be part of a sign and trade if you're willing to accept it. If we strike out, we'll bring you back. That kind of thing. They have done that in the past too. Show Khan, I'm not aware of the interest level in Cat right now. I've got to think that'll be later in the season. We'll see. If that is a possibility. I know the Knicks have had, been monitoring the Karl Anthony Towns situation, but for me, he's not the greatest fit salary-wise, and he doesn't protect the rim. Not sure how he fits. To me, you guys let me know. Are you cool on Cat? Yep, the Autism Boy Cottage also says, I clearly think we are working on something for Leon Rose, bruh. Yep. Leon's cooking, man. He's been cooking all summer, and he is definitely, with a situation, that this roster is 90%, right? Let's keep it real. If we're putting, numbers on things, right? It's 90% complete for me to win a championship. Jabroni, Kessler is not worth 2 firsts. Absolutely agree with you. It depends on the quality of the first, though. If 2 of them are heavily protected, I could see a team more desperate giving that up, but I just don't think we're desperate right now. We got a starting quality center in Mitch. Yes, he has some durability concerns, but we are going to bring someone in as a backup. And we've got some other bodies too, that are a little bit more unproven with Sims, Hukpority, but let's give them a shot. Um, yeah, so more buzz coming out. Seems like there was some talk from CP about the Knicks trying to move Randall on for Cat. I'm against that, man, says Julian. Yeah, look, hot topic. Appreciate you for bringing that up. I'm against it as well. I think Randall suits this team better. From a culture perspective, I do think Randall is more durable than Cat as well, more dependable. If you want to talk about skill sets, Cat can shoot the ball better. That's obviously, a plus in his favor. But Julius Randle brings more to this team in terms of playmaking, drawing doubles as well, cheaper salary, all of that. But here's where this could be tied in. It's all about the contract, guys. I always say it. This is a business, and never take things personally with regards to a Knick player involved in discussions, because that's just the norm around the league. This is a business. It's a GM's job to do their due diligence. However, only look as far as contractually, right? Julius Randle's contract is going to come up in 1 year's time, and he is extension eligible. So the Knicks have obviously been needing to think about this for a long time now. How far are they going to commit? What number are they going to commit to? All of those things. Julius obviously is a CAA client now, once again, and the agency will have his best interests in mind too, to position him to get the highest possible bag as well. We look at it like putting the ball in the hoop. The players do that for a living, but they also need to worry about their bread, and maximizing their earnings, right? Now, in terms of role, I think Julius is in an ideal role. I don't know how many teams around the NBA that he would fit better than the New York Knicks, right? He is our starting power forward and an all-star. I don't think Cat would fit this team better than Julius, for me personally. But obviously Randall has got the contract situation coming up. And obviously, it was a missed opportunity last time in the season. So you guys let me know. Mel Bester says, we forgot our center project, Skapensev. Yeah, I mentioned him last show, fam. And, he'll be probably Summer League, G League. But I don't think he's ready, if I'm keeping it honest. Khalid says Bertans equals a Novak equals the one-trick pony trash. Yeah, I think the long-term play, man, is salary filler. With that said, yeah, I think the Bertans situation would be salary filler for the Knicks, because we don't want to waste this $5.2 million. We've got to spend it on someone. Some of the best names available. I'm going to bring up right now again. Welcome in, guys. Anyone else joining us? Salute. We're buzzing live with the best chat in the biz. There's Sadiq Bey, Kyle Lowry. There is Mook Morris, Markel Fultz. Obviously, Tyus Jones, man. It's a no-brainer. I know we're kind of good at the point guard spot, but if you can get Tyus Jones for the exception, that does make Rokas or Deuce more expendable, right? Because he's one of the best backup point guards in the league, if not the best backup. So, as much as I wouldn't want to lose Deuce, right? If that could get you Walker Kessler, and you can get Tyus Jones, then that would be an A+ situation for Leon. But I think obviously Tyus Jones is going to get a bag. Yeah, he's going to get a bag somewhere. So Tariq says having a sniper like Bertans on your squad is never a bad idea. Yeah, he's a specialist, and that's a good point about end of game situations. Power forward goes down. At least you could space the floor out more as well, too. Yeah, I do hope the cat noise goes away, guys. I understand it's a trending topic, and I'm always happy to talk about any important trending topics. That's what we do here on the streets are buzzing. However, Yeah, I've not been a fan of Cat and the fit on this squad. Now, if he was earning 30 mil, half of his current salary, I would be more open to it. But business got to make sense. And I think he would be a gaping black hole on this team and an albatross. Shokan says, just bring in Nick Richards and keep it moving. Yeah, for that as well, fam. Bring back Precious, bring back Nick Richards, sign, Bertans or someone good with the 5.2 milli. Lock up Huck Porty, lock up McCullough, and run it into the season. See, keep these firsts because, as I said before, you want to be forward thinking, man. What if a Dante goes down? What if a Josh Hart goes down at some point, and you need to pull a swing at the deadline to bring in a quality talent, right? You need those firsts, right? But obviously, it's all about your preference. A lot of people have made good cases for Kessler. I'm willing to listen about that, but people think he's a bigger difference maker than he is, and I'm not that big on the center spot because look at the starting five. How many shots are going to go towards the big man, right? We need someone to set screens, roll hard, rebound, and box out, right? It ain't rocket science. We don't need a center to put up 15 shots a night, right? Save those picks for something else. Randall, OG, Bridges, Brunny, Devo, and Hart and Deuce. They're going to get all the shots. Right. We just need someone to do the mop up in terms of clean the glass and draw fouls, set screens, and hit free throws as well. Now, if Sims comes back a better man, if Huck Porty looks solid, Achua could be the backup, and we bring in Nick Richards, I think that'll be fine. Susan says Kyle Lowry's not coming. Yeah, I'm not the biggest guy on Kyle Lowry. Let him be that mercenary with Philly or Miami. As we're talking about tonight too, early season expectations. We hit on Mikal Bridges. I think he'll average, close to what he's been doing his career, but the 3-point percentage might go up because he's got better looks coming with the Knicks and the talent we have. Now, points per game, it could probably be around the 15 points once again, right? He's a two-way player. I know a lot has been made about Bridges not being an all-star before, but he's one of the best two-way players, right? I'm cool with that. He doesn't need to score 20 a night, right? Play lockdown D, get stocks, steals out on the break, and finish above the rim too. But his key ability is his availability. 474 consecutive games, man. That needs to be treasured. That needs to be shouted out. That needs to be celebrated, right? How many players in this league now, guys, want to, steal the money? They want to take it lightly. They want to, come here for a holiday, take a payday. So Bridges, man, we overpaid for a reason because he's good, man. He is great. And I'm glad to have him in the building. We'll hear some more quotes from Mikal Bridges too. The best thing about it is, that he's here to win as well. He's missed some opportunities in Phoenix. Obviously played for a bad Brooklyn Nets. And he's here to win. Let's hear what he has to say on that.
I mean, just trying to win. I think we all embody, how to win games and all the sacrificing to win. So pretty much that. Dope to be a Knick. Like I said, thought I was gonna be here in 2018, and I love everything about the team. Tibbs and the crowd, MSG, all that. So, it's the history. I think it kind of brings me back to being in the league for a while, and you kind of growing up, being older, you kind of, you you be around a lot. I feel like now with coming here, I don't know, makes me feel like a young kid again, just with all the memories. And when you think basketball when I was young and think about like the old school, like there's always the Knicks, like that's what you always think about, and think about the MSG and I forgot what when the guy made like the New York song, like the Knicks song. So just all that stuff. Dope to be a Knick. Like I said.
What do you make of the idea of playing for Tom? What have people told you about playing for Tom?
I know I see all the jokes. I see it all. But I mean, it's great. I know Tibbs is a great coach, and one thing, like, who doesn't want to play? Who doesn't want to play all the time? And
Yeah, I like it, man. Who doesn't want to play all the time? Again, Mr. Iron Man wants to play for a good coach that pushes his players, right? I get it. See, the Jay Wright Villanova program, man, for all the winning pedigree those guys had, that he pushed those guys so hard. That's why they're so prepared. That's why Brunson, sometimes needs to be reined in. He just wants to play as well. Josh Hart will literally run through a brick wall for his coach and to play hard as well. And I'm really seeing the vision now, guys, of the next championship team for the New York Knicks, right? I think we're 90% there. What are your thoughts on that? Put your crystal ball, man. The next Knicks championship, are we looking at a squad that is 90% there, or more or less? What do you think? They're moving pieces. I don't really want to talk about Karl Anthony Towns much more because I don't see a team winning a championship with him as a major piece on $60 million. Right, maybe as a bit part player on a cheaper deal, but I can't really see a team winning a championship with Cat on 60 mil. Right, it's a lot of money, and it's taken up a lot of percentages on the cap. But with Bridges, man, we got him feeling like a kid again, right? Just like Squidward, who was the meme going around and looking, at his friends having fun, right? This is all about having fun as well, man. And I think this squad is going to be buzzing on throughout the season, right? It's going to be like playing with, not only all your friends, but a team so talented. Talking about guys who aren't his buddies in terms of Bridges, OG, Randall, Mitchie, Deuce, a lot of other talented guys that he hasn't played with, and he's just going to be, I think, the most appreciated. In terms of pickup for the Knicks. He's been on some good teams, like you guys said, but I don't think he's been on a team this stacked, in my opinion. Obviously, he was part of the Kevin Durant trade, too. And Brooklyn, he's been on a bad team a lot recently. So my expectations are reasonable for Bridges. Continue to average a 15 and shoot it from 40%. Susan says this coaching is a dream. Tibbs is coaching the dream team. His selection is bigger than last season. If you can't be dependable, he's not going to put you in the rotation. I think we learned a lot of these guys from the postseason. Pablo says Tibbs, I think, will play 9, but it won't be the same 9 every time. Mixing it up. What do you think? You think we'll see some new wrinkles? Obviously, when I say 90%, I'm really waiting, man, to see what happens at the 4-5 spots. I think Tibbs might be more high on Keita Bates-Diop than people are talking about. He hasn't gotten talked about probably much, with his fit. Obviously he was a throw-in in the Brooklyn trade, but Tibbs drafted Bates-Diop, and he's got a clear skill set. Who can defend at a solid level. He's 6'9", really long, and he can shoot the ball too. So I think Bates-Diop might compete for some minutes, fam, on that front. Right, we'll hear more from Bridges, but it was all smiles from him. And Davis Bertans is now being talked about as the Knicks have interest in him. Is that a way of pivoting because we might miss out on Precious Achiuwa? Right, that is something that's going to be interesting to watch. Obviously, Precious could be a backup 5, undersized, and maybe Bertans is more of just that end of the bench specialist. But, if we are going to spend that 5 milli, it's going to be on a player who I think might have value to flip later in the season as potential salary filler as well. I think Leon, ain't going to be too reckless with the big man, giving up too much assets. So I'm probably leaning towards Nick Richards, guys, at this point. What are your thoughts on who we end up with? Is it Nick Richards? Is it another name? Omer Yurtsven? Paul Reed, I'm glad that we didn't get him. I'm glad that we didn't get Paul Reed because he's not dependable. Smooth B says Danny Ainge wants your family. It's not happening. We'll see if Leon is a little bit more patient, but I'm glad. AC says, I say we go into the season with what we have and Michi, Sims, and Achua. See what we've got as we approach the deadline. No moving Randall now. Let's see how things are fitting. Tariq says Leon Rose has a pattern. If you can read between the tea leaves and a smart predict his moves, Leon walked away from Spider and he will do the same for a backup in Kessler. 2 first-round picks for a backup? No thanks. I think Leon ain't giving up 2 firsts unless they're heavily protected. That said, Sin Nick says if Randall slides to the 5, we could see an 8-man rotation. Yeah, we might. 8 or 9, I think it shrinks the closer we get to the postseason. But I think regular season he'll be open to playing more guys, And obviously the news I talked about with Huck Porty signing a 2-way, that means he's not getting traded, right? So they see a long-term vision with Ariel, which is good. I'm happy because, I'm high on him, but I also think that now he's on a 2-way. He'll get minutes in Westchester. He might be more ready, to give us some minutes if we need with the big club. But he can't get traded, and so it's cost friendly. You can keep Huck Porty for multiple years. You can convert him to a regular rookie exception contract later if you want. Sims might be outgoing in a deal for Kessler because those salaries match. Kessler's only on 2 point something, and Sims is on 2 point something as well. So it could be Sims and a pick for a Nick Richards. It could be again Precious Achua getting it signed and traded, fam. But I feel like some news is going to hit real soon. I'm refreshing right now to see if we get anything. They talk about Ben Simmons looking like he'll be fully healthy. I feel like they've said that a million times. Chris Paul choosing the San Antonio situation. As CP's also talking about the Knicks remain interested in the Karl Anthony Towns trade as well, and the Knicks are not done dealing. Again, I look at it contractually more than anything because of the business side of things. I do think that Minnesota has been long talked about, guys, as being cheap, right? Could they be having, some buyer's remorse or some doubts with running it into the season with the salary of a Karl Anthony Towns, right? But I hope we don't get him. I hope we don't go. Building blocks, McCullough, his status is still unknown. However, I think it's quite reasonable to expect that I think he won't play in Summer League because he had a scope surgery right after the college season. Probably no need to risk it. If he is fully healthy, then he'll participate. But he hasn't got his contract yet. I don't think there's any long-term concerns, but he had a scope surgery. He wasn't even able to participate in pre-draft, combine, workouts, nothing. That is the reason McCullough slipped. That, nobody's really talking about because, they just thought, oh, what the hell, 56 pick, we'll wait to see. But yeah, from what we've heard, I've looked at some Kansas outlets as well. He had some health issues with the knee, and I did not have a pre-draft process at all. So the Knicks could have got a steal with McCullough because he wouldn't have slipped. I'm so confident that if McCullough was able to work out for teams, go to the combine, and boost his stock, he would not have been the 56th pick. Right, that guy is one of the most ready-made, prospects in this draft. An older prospect, but he is so ready-made. He would have gone to some contender. He would have got picked earlier. But yeah, McCullough's health is the reason the New York Knicks were able to pounce and get a steal in him. So yeah, I hope we keep him. And he could be a piece for us in the future. Looks like he's of the mold of a Josh Hart. Competes like anything. We'll dive on the floor. We'll guard up on the perimeter. We'll rebound, push the break. I just I'm cautiously optimistic. So I'm cautiously pessimistic that we won't see him in summer league. But he hasn't got his contract yet. I do think he'll probably end up getting a two-way. Yeah, we got incredible value from the last two picks in the draft, and even you want to talk about all of them really. Kolek we were happy to take with the first rounder. We saved some money, we moved back. We got an upside swing with Daddy. Look forward to summer league, man. Rokas, as we talked about last night, is here. He's going to come. Reports out of Europe. He's flying directly from Puerto Rico to link up with the Summer League squad. Now, it's probably the hold-up while we haven't got announcements yet. The Knicks kick off Summer League in like 3 days. We haven't got the squad yet, but looks like Daddy, Kolek, Huck Porty will be part of it. McCullough, I'm not too sure, but Rokas Jokubaitis reports say that he will be there and are ready to pursue the NBA now, that the moment has arrived and he wants to test himself. So could this be the best summer league the Knicks put out for a minute ever since the Mitchie, that Mitchie Kevin Knox squad that we put out as well. There was obviously the Toppin Quickly RJ one as well. But if all of these guys compete, I'm ready for summer league right now. To New York Knicks basketball. The Chosen One says our front office is playing chess and keeping busy every day. I've never seen our front office this busy and meticulous. Very, very meticulous, man. And yeah, a lot of focus is on Leon Rose, and he is the lead decision maker, the president, and he deserves most of the credit. But what he's done is assembled a group of guys who are all, part of what they do. They're all excellent in their area of expertise. Brock Aller with the cap, Will Y. West with the connections, Gerson Rosas with the experience as a president and GM himself. And then, of course, Walt Perrin, the best draft scout and an assistant GM. And you put all those heads together and you get Professor X from Marvel and the X-Men, man. You get a guy that can see all different perspectives, and you get a guy who obviously is connected around the league, agent-wise, as well. So the Knicks have won the off-season for me, for all the reasons: the draft, the trade, the OG re-signing. I think we're just a stronger team against anyone in the East. But we've finally got Mikal, unveiled now. And obviously, I said before, I think this squad is 90% there for that championship. Obviously add maybe one more piece to the center, 1 or 2 more pieces. A rookie looks a little more ready than usual. We're cooking, man, in late June. Right, we are going to be cooking at that time of year. It'll be the third year in a row. We'll be having a deep postseason run. Randall will be here. You know, OG will have proper help as well with the backup. He won't be depended on as much now that, you know, the Iron Man is in the building. Obviously, he's had big games in college, and he's been putting in that work with these guys. Let's hear from Ian Begley now, as well as the major news came out of the Knicks' interest in Walker Kessler, but the Jazz getting an offer from an unknown team.
One of the first Knicks that Mikal Bridges said by name here at his introductory press conference on Tuesday. It wasn't Jalen Brunson, it wasn't Josh Hart, but it was OG Anunoby. Bridges said he's long been a fan of Anunoby's and they've admired each other's games based on what each has done for their successive teams. Obviously, both 3-and-D players, and he was really excited to play with Anunoby. And if this era is going to work for the Knicks, the Anunoby, Bridges, Villanova Knicks era, it's going to be based on the success defensively with Bridges and Anunoby together. I don't think there's another defensive wing tandem in the NBA that can match up with those two. Great wingspans, great switch defenders, can defend multiple positions. So I think that's where it starts for this Knicks team. Everybody seemed very happy at this introductory press conference, as you could imagine. Bridges was happy. Leon Rose was there. Other Knicks staffers were there. Some of Mikal's family members were there. Everybody in a real joyous mood, and I'm sure Knicks fans are feeling the same way after they get Bridges in the building across the East River in that trade with the Nets. Another quick update here on the backup big man situation. I mentioned on Monday that Utah had been asking for at least one first-round pick in previous discussions with teams on Walker Kessler. The Knicks had had some interest in Kessler. I was told subsequently that teams had offered 2 first-rounders to Utah in the past couple weeks and were rebuffed. Obviously, we don't know the value of the first rounders. Not all firsts are created equal. There's protections on these picks, but that gives you a little idea on how the Jazz value Kessler and what it would take to pry him out of Utah. One of the first.
So yeah, as Ian confirms, obviously all smiles today, as you expect, unveiling the Iron Man Mikal, but Danny Ainge, right, rebuffing a deal for 2 firsts. The quality of the first unknown as well. So I'm cool with giving up 2 firsts for Kessler. 1 protected first. I would be open to that too, fam. But yeah, you guys keep buzzing. We'll shout you guys out. Ask any questions. Get your thoughts out here. That's what we do. Fam, orange and blue. And please smash that like button. Salute to Replay Squad. Now, Building Block says, does Rokas' team know we drafted and paid a backup? To a backup point guard. I'm assuming he wants to play this season and just might not. Yeah, I think the Knicks will take it step by step. So what they do is they don't, and his team won't be thinking too far ahead. So it'll be starting at Summer League. Hopefully he performs, and that opens a lot of doors for a trade. Other teams around the league might, perk up and see him as an option. I think he just wants to come to the NBA. I think he's cool if it's not with the Knicks, but if he comes to Summer League and can shine, that'll give, other teams, an opportunity to maybe give the Knicks an offer, or the Knicks to include Rokas, as well, fam. But it might make Deuce more expendable. Not that I want that to happen. I'm just trying to think out aloud about what the front office is thinking. But one thing's for sure is that Rokas is an asset. And I think you want to showcase him because, while he's tucked away in Europe, no team is really going to think twice about him, So you got to take it step at a time, bring him to the States, he's coming, and hopefully he balls out. And that's going to open up some of those doors, I think. Look, he comes in here, let's say he balls out against Stefan Castle, some of these higher end rookies or sophomores, Keontae George. Let's say he goes head to head with those dudes and he looks the business. That could change some plans as well. And he's looked pretty good in FIBA. I know his team got eliminated, but shout out to Puerto Rico and Jose Grand Theft Alvarado. who deserved their spot. They were the best team. Yep, Leon Rose is patient, says Susan. Prezi says, can we give a shout out to Dolan, the real MVP, hiring Leon and staying out the way. Focus on the sphere B. LOL. I mean, look, Dolan's made a hell of a lot of mistakes, but it looks like he's learned from them. And but he's an incredibly loyal guy, and that's where the mistakes sort of crept in, where he was loyal to a fault. And but he was meddling. But obviously now he's staying out of the way, and he hired the right guy. I think so. Yeah, he deserves a shout out for that, for hiring, a guy with, that needed to be in this position. He's got connections, but he's smart. See, everyone wanted to just to focus on the CAA side, but Leon Rose is a self-made man, right? He's a lawyer from New Jersey, came up, built his own empire, right? Got his degree. Became a lawyer, started representing, individual ballers, some from Australia to begin with. We've talked about Leon Rose's first client, Chris, who we had on our show. And, he started from humble beginnings, built up a basketball agency empire with CAA. So it's not just about the connections. It's about being smart. Leon Rose has always been a smart man. And most of the time, the smartest man in the room, right? And now he's got more heads to bounce off of. It's really no surprise to me that the Knicks are, have been on the way up. Obviously, there's some things he defers, in terms of X's and O's with Tibbs, Walt Perrin with the draft. He'll lean into, like we heard with William Wesley, Worldwide West about quickly. Some things, he gives these guys a chance to put forward their case, right? Wes went, get me quickly, and he got him quickly. I think Tibbs wanted Quentin Grimes. We ended up with Quentin Grimes. Tibbs probably said, get me Kolek. He got him. Walt Perrin probably said, Pacome Dadier is the best upside guy. Let's go for him. So I think outside of X's and O's, Leon runs the show. But he does take the best out of the others, and he just seems to be pushing all the right buttons right now. Now going all in for this man, Mikal Bridges, right? We'll wait to see how the season kicks off, but it's hard to not see it being a seamless fit, right? Not only is he playing with guys that he's played with before, but he doesn't have to be checked, right? He knows the expectations. Yeah, he knows he's going to have to play hard here, and he knows that he's going to be a vital piece to being the starter. Joe, Rokas is 23, fam. So 23, he's very young still. He's got a ton of upside. So I think he's about the same age as Deuce. He's younger than Jericho. Much younger than Jericho, fam. So yeah, 23. Let's get it. Rokas, right? I want this Summer League squad to get announced, but like I said, we'll be live post-game after every Summer League game. And our next two shows, we'll have guests on. We'll be live Thursday night with John Schmelk of the New York Giants, to diehard Knicks fan and season ticket holder. Myself and John Schmelk will be live Thursday night, right, as well, at 9 p.m. And then Friday, we'll be talking to MSG host Bill Pedo in the building. Get Bill's thoughts on the offseason as well. So Thursday, Friday is going to be buzzing. Daryl says, keep Deuce and make the best of the challenge of Kolek and the Lithuanian point. Let the chips fall where they may. Leon is a smart man who will make the right decision. Yeah, appreciate you, Daryl. You let guys compete. I like that. Nothing can be lost from competing in Summer League, right? Rokas' stock could go up, or we might find out that he just ain't it. Sooner or later, you got to find out. Fans have been impatient a little. Fans have been patient, but the time has come where we do got to get a look at Rokas. I think he's 23 now, and he doesn't want to die wondering. He's already won a chip with Barcelona in the Spanish league, and that club's trying to move forward with other pieces. He's coming into a contract year, so I can confirm, those that aren't aware, Roca still has one more year on his deal with Barcelona currently, but there's talk that they would be open to just letting him pursue his NBA dream. The Knicks would probably have to pay a small buyout. That's just the way it goes. The Knicks had to pay Pacomb's club a buyout fee, but it was $800,000 or something. So Rokas has one more year. If there's a spot for him this season, maybe on the bench, and he's open to that, and he does want to come, I think the Knicks will probably buy that contract out. But maybe he balls out in summer league. There's no spot for him this season. He goes back to Europe for another season, and then we make plans for the following season to bring him in permanently. I think that would probably be the most likely scenario. We could plan for his entrance for another season, see how it goes, man. But Deuce and Kolek are going to get busy this season backing up Brunson. Now, we've got, the talk from Mike Scotto, Davis Bertans. Let me know your thoughts on that, guys. We'll shout it out. Vaughn's in the building. AC, salute, what's up? AC says, I see Rokas simply as a future trade. Tyler Kolek is the guy. What better way to see both head-to-head, man? Let's see them both run out in Summer League. The funny thing is they're both the same age. So Kolek, as you said, might actually look more ready. He might look more ready than Rokas. We'll see. He might be a more sound floor general, better defender. We'll see. Michael says, yep, CT Rokas. Yokobitis. Sin says, there's another big part of the Quickly trade now. No way we could have paid him what he got. So we would have been gone. He would have been gone for potentially nothing. Leon strikes again. Yeah. Look, I was on that, from the beginning. Like, I love Quickly, but all our shows, all the live streams during that talk, that season, Quickly made it, very clear to anyone who listened that he wanted to be a starter. And his agency, Leon, these guys knew that we got to find a way to get a pathway for Quickly becoming a starter somewhere and maximizing a return. Again, this is just a business, guys, from the player perspective. As fans, we're hoops junkies. We rock with the squad, ride or die. But for these players, it's a job. It's a job they enjoy doing, but it's also a real job. It's got to pay the bills, and Quickly and Toppin, they didn't want to rot on the bench all their life, all their careers. They didn't come up in huge, college programs, and become professionals just to be a bench player. So Leon shuffled the decks, like you said, and made light of the situation, right? So starting five fits like a glove now. Quickly get paid. Obi got paid. RJ got paid as well. But we also boosted their stock. And looks like Quentin Grimes going to be in a great place in Dallas. Now he's going to be able to play D. They traded Timmy, and Quentin's going to be able to maybe earn his bag with Dallas as well. They traded Josh Green. Rokas is a real 6'4", so he's a real bigger point guard. He can score as well. Vaughn says, CT, do you think the Knicks are interested in JR? Which JR, man? Do you mean the JR being traded for Towns? That's the buzz right now, man. I don't think it's a priority. I just think, teams do due diligence. They talk to other front offices. Julius's contract would be coming up. Maybe he's declined the number that they're willing to give. Again, I go back to the business side of things. I think they're very comfortable with Julius being the starter, but I do think contractually, that's the next biggest question, because Brunson looks like he's going to extend. Bridges is locked up as well. OG's now locked up. Randall's contract is coming up next. So we'll see. I don't expect any big moves to start this season, during the season, or after the season. Right, we might find out a little bit more on that front. AC says no rush to make any trade now. Sit tight until the deadline if necessary. We don't really need 60 to 62 wins. 55 is cool. I like that, man. 55 is cool. Like, we haven't won 55 games in since the 54 win season. But yeah, I agree with you. It's hard to see this team not winning 55, man. Even with a centre by committee, a backup centre by committee. I think we still win 55, guys. DJ's in the building. What's up? Let me know which team has had the best offseason for you. It's the Knicks, number 1. Philly, probably number 2 for me. We still don't know the Summer League squad yet, but we know Rokas is going to come. He's part of it. He's travelled to New York, and I won't be surprised if he's already touched down in New York or in Vegas to link up with the squad. They haven't announced anything yet. The Knicks are obviously holding it close, but McCullough trades, there might be, finalising things. Are the Knicks done making moves this summer? No. They will add another big. They might swing a sign and trade for Precious, or they might just spend the 5.2 milli to get Bertans in here and maybe another veteran big. So expect it to be another move coming, but I don't expect it to be a major move. We just talked about season expectations about the team. I predict 56 wins. Guys, let me know your predictions in the chat if you've got them. If you're saving it, we'll shout it out later. But I think 56 wins is very realistic. We're 90% complete. We'll add one more big, assuming, and we'll wait to see if Huck Porty ends up on the 2-way or is maybe part of the move. But over the next few live streams, we'll go through individually season expectations, right? I expect Brunson's scoring to dip a little, but his assists to go up. Just simply because I think he won't have the ball in his hands as much, right? Randall comes back, and Mikal Bridges, an OG, for a full season. Rokas and Ariel will be huge surprises, I think, says Ivory. Salute. Christy says, sick of small guards. It's getting annoying. We need more. We need more length. Kolek is a little shorter, 6'3" wingspan. That's why I like Deuce. I think for a point guard, he's got good wingspan. But obviously, Brunson is a smaller guard. Mind Cushion says 51 wins. That's a nice one. I think we could go a little higher than that, fam. But we don't know if there's going to be some injuries, potentially. I think, we're thinking a little too deep about the Bertans thing. Think of it as salary filler. Think of it as, a specialist. We're not getting much more for $5 million. And he's not going to be a major piece anyway. The roster is 90% complete. You need shooting. Look, the Porzingis situation, man, that was many moons ago. In terms of that, Porzingis wanted out. And Phil had no choice to trade him. I'm not mad at Phil for trading KP. He should have maybe traded him sooner. But the Knicks had a second chance to get KP, right? And that's where, they decided not to go for him. 58 wins, Pablo. That's a nice one. NYC says 57. Man, what would happen if we got to 60? We could win the East. Kush says 70. Man, channeling the Bulls. Um, yeah, look, the Rokas Kolek battle, Sin, is going to be nice. And definitely the Summer League squad's going to be awesome. We don't have to watch Trevor Keels. We don't have to watch these, these names that aren't going to be a factor. Think of the 40-minute Summer League game. It's going to have either Rokas or Kolek running the point guard at all times. So that's going to be exciting to see. We don't have to watch some mediocre to trash point guard play. But I expect West and Tibbs to be courtside. I expect Dice to probably coach the team, but we'll see. Right, Tibbs might want to get his hands dirty and coach this Summer League squad with some, real roster rookies on the squad. But number 1, Bridges, formerly worn by Obi, formerly worn by Bobby Portis, Amari Stoudemire, right? He doesn't take number 25 this time, the newest Nick. Marvin says 60 wins. Salute. You guys are saying Steve Mills and Perry traded KP. Look, Phil was the president. Phil ordered KP to get traded, guys. Phil Jackson was the president. Steve Mills and Perry were the GM, but Phil Jackson told them to trade KP. Right? They take orders from the president at that point. The Chosen One, 62 wins this year. Let's go. 70, let's just say 82, man. Let's just say 82. We don't lose a game. Right. We're optimistic. We're buzzing with the best chat in the biz. Now let's go through some remaining free agents, guys. Some of you underwhelmed with Dovers Bertans. So let's look at who are the best names available. Right. I don't think Leon's going to sign a free agent big. I think it's going to be a trade. Right. There aren't any good free agent bigs available that are worth, doing anything with, fam. So when it comes to trades, right, these aren't centers specifically, but look, Sadiq Bey would be a well, acquisition for the mid-level. That would be nice. I'm cool on Kyle Lowry, but Markel Fultz, there you go. There's the longer point guard, but he just can't see out a full season. Gary Trent will probably get more money. Talks are that he walked away from Toronto from 15 mil. So Gary Trent Jr. wants more money than 15 mil. The Knicks can't pay that, right? Luke Kennard. We've got Devo off our bench. I don't see the need. Precious, you got to bring back, or you got to sign and trade him. One of the two. I think you can't lose Precious for nothing. I think the Knicks will have a better plan than this, but I agree with. I think the Knicks front office shouldn't get desperate, fam. Get the deal done for Nick Richards if that's what it takes. I'm sure a couple of seconds and Sims, or a couple of seconds and Rokas could get that done. And if Precious wants a better deal somewhere else or a bigger role, then I'm sure we could facilitate something. But yeah, we don't really need to get too crazy giving up 2 firsts. I get the excitement. People want to see Kessler because he's a young guy and he's big. He can protect the rim, and he could be a very, very solid starter or backup too. But looks like Danny Ainge ain't wanting to play fair, fam, and they've rebuffed an offer of 2 firsts. So does Leon Rose continue? I doubt it, fam. Like Tariq said, we walked away from Danny Ainge in the past. And look, he is out to fleece the Knicks because the Jazz front office is ticked off. Back when the Knicks front office attended the Dallas game to watch Jalen Brunson. You know, there is, clear reports confirming that, right? This isn't speculation. That rolled, the Jazz front office was ticked off. So Danny Ainge doesn't want to do the Knicks any favors. If he does a deal with the Knicks, he'll want to make sure that he's coming out on the better side of that deal, right? And for me, that's just not worth it, right? It's just not worth it right now, right? He'll want Deuce, he'll want 2 firsts, and he'll probably want Rokas thrown in as well, right? He'll probably want Deuce, Rokas, Sims or Precious, and 2 firsts, right? I mean, the prices just seem to be getting ridiculous. Yeah, Buzzer, your guy, Markel Fultz, isn't signed. What's up with that, man? Money's drying up. Maybe he just can't find the deal that he's looking for or the right role, See, a lot of these guys might end up taking the minimum, but they'll choose a team where they're definitely going to get burned so that they can boost their future stock. Buzzer says, I can't believe Fultz isn't signed. Wow, this guy was the number 1 overall pick just a few years back. Some years back, I think more than a few, fam. It is going back a little bit. Markel Fultz, I think it'll easily been 5, 6, 7 years now. But that's the thing, man. There's new lions coming into the league. If you can't stay healthy, teams don't want to pay. But he will get an opportunity. If we didn't draft Kolek and we didn't have Deuce, I would be really interested in him. But I think we're looking at the bigs right now. Get me Sadiq Bey, Marcus Morris. Paul Reed is now officially off the board. No to Gordon Hayward, no to Spencer Dinwiddie. Isaac Okoro is kind of redundant for us. So is Gary Trent. And Tyus Jones ain't taken, $5 million. Anthony says 49 wins, 49 to 54. I hope Tibbs uses the bench. Starters no more than 35 for the season. Yeah, great call, man. I agree. I think there's no reason to be playing guys more than 38 in the regular season. Mix it up. See, a lot of people feel a bit down on DiVincenzo, or feel for DiVincenzo that he loses his starting spot, assumingly. But don't forget that he could still play starting minutes, right? He could still get his 26 to 30 minutes as the 6th man, and he might finish games out. So it ain't how you start, how you finish. Obviously, I want to keep OG fresh for the postseason, and you want to make sure that OG's locked and loaded, ready to go for round 1. We know Mikal Bridges is always going to be there. He'll be available. Does Tibbs tinker with some small ball stuff, right? If Mitchie can't play more than 30 minutes or 28, who eats up the other minutes? Does Randall get 7 minutes at the 5? Does he get 3 minutes at the 5? He is going to be able to mix and match this a little bit to get Hart and to get DiVincenzo in there and get their minutes up as well, guys. So yeah, I think there will be a better balance of minutes from Tibbs. Nick P says, screw Ainge, get Richards in here, let's move forward. Yeah, amen. Amen on that. Junior says Ariel Hukporti is officially signed now. I'm high on Hukporti, man. I'm Hukporti hive officially, right? But with substance, because I've seen him in person. I've scouted him in person, and Ariel Hukporti has an opportunity, long term to be a part of the Knicks. The two-way deal will be flexible for us to give him reps in Westchester or with the big squad. Salute Danny, what's up? AC says Ainge is crazy. He's going to say give him Julius for Kessler. It goes back to what I said before, guys. Ainge has nothing to lose. The Jazz aren't a contender. They're not expected to make playoffs. They're not expected to make play-in. He can just mess around. He can act a fool. He can throw stuff against the wall and hope that it sticks. He doesn't care. He's literally just stealing money from Utah to be a negotiator. Right? But the thing is, he thinks he's from a position of power. But if teams just walk away, no one's going to do a deal with him. Right? And you end up losing your job. Right? Eventually, Jazz ownership's going to be like, hey, wait a minute. This guy's using personal vendettas to not move our club forward. Right? Let's get him out of there. Right? I think David Griffin, his days could be numbered with New Orleans as well. We'll see now, he's regressed on his price for Brandon Ingram. He's become maybe a little bit more flexible. But once upon a time, David Griffin was an absolute, a joke to deal with as well. These guys, are personal against the Knicks. Yeah, and Danny Ainge, he's just acting a fool, in my opinion. You can't have it all. You can't send a third-year guy to Summer League and then put a 2 first-round pick bounty on his head. Right? It's one or the other. Either the guy's got significant value or he's a reclamation project. Right? Which one is it? Danny Ainge? Because Leon Rose is not stupid. He's not a fool. The Chosen One says, I wouldn't mind getting Sadiq Bey, another Villanova cat, as OG insurance. Yeah, that's a good one, man. That's a good one. Yeah, I agree. Bridges wasn't overpay. It's specific to the team, right? Everyone want to talk about overpays, but they don't want to look at it, right, in a vacuum, in terms of specific to the team, right? If you have to pay a little bit more to get to the NBA Finals or the Eastern Conference Finals, you do it, right? You don't wait around. You don't wait 5 decades to try to win a championship and then back out at the 11th hour. Oh, it's one more pick too much. Let's wait 5 more decades to compete. Man, Leon Rose is all about right now. You know what I mean? We've waited long enough. We're the most valuable franchise in the biggest media market as well, with the biggest fan base, right? We're not worried about one more pick or one less pick from Mikal Bridges, right? So Nets fans, anyone else can say it's an overpay, right? They'll be fishing when it comes June, and the New York Knicks will be dishing and swishing. AC says, CT, how many points do you think Bridges averages, man? I think it stays around the same, man. Courtesy of MSG, Bridges in his 6 seasons now coming in with 14.3 points on 50% shooting. See, I could see him averaging maybe a slight increase, 16 points. Bam. I think it's dependent on his minutes. I think I correlate with DiVincenzo, because DiVincenzo's hot right now. I want to keep him cooking. So if Mikal's cool with taking a bit of a minutes reduction to get DiVincenzo's minutes up to 28, I'm all for that too. Right? It's not unrealistic to say that DiVincenzo is a better 3-point shooter in terms of that. He broke records last season, so I want to continue to get DiVincenzo loose. Yeah, Susan, did you see the meme floating around now? Danny Ainge on the sidelines. He looked miserable, right? He looks miserable. He's in Utah. He's running that organization right now. They're not really taking steps forward. They're just taking swings on lottery picks. Yep. And Dimitri says the same. Utah is in limbo right now. I mean, I get it. He's doing his job trying to, inflate Walker Kessler's price, right? Because if you read the tea leaves, Walker Kessler doesn't have a future in Utah. They butt heads. He's on the block for a reason. He's playing third-year summer league. He's probably got to be thinking as well, like, I don't know where I'm going to be. But, one thing's for sure, if you play too hardball, other front offices will just get turned away, and they just won't call you up, hoping to make a fair deal. I will say, look at us with the Raptors. We did it for OG. We did a very fair deal. We gave them RJ. We gave them Emmanuel Quickly, 2 starters. If you look at the Bogdanovich deal, we gave them Quentin Grimes, and that got them Tim Hardaway. They flipped him. If you look at the Mikal Bridges deal, Brooklyn got what they wanted. So the Knicks are upping their reputation around the league because we're doing fair deals, and two of them have been, against enemies, with Toronto and with Brooklyn, and we're still doing fair deals as well. So it's crazy the way that Danny Ainge is behaving, but it is what it is. Walker Kessler had a solid game. He's trying to get his stock up. Putting stories out there that they're rebuffing offers of 2 firsts. I mean, we'll see, man. If he rebuffs a deal for 2 firsts, what does he want? 3? Like, if Mikal Bridges can be had for 5, how is Walker Kessler worth 3? It's crazy. Yeah, Paul Reed is off the board. Mine Cushion, I was cool on him because he didn't play well, in the playoffs. That's when you want someone to depend upon when it comes to that. But we heard from Mikal Bridges. I'm going to peep the interview with Monica McNutt that he had at 6 p.m. But it was all smiles today as Bridges here to win, and he's going to carry on what the Nova guys currently have been giving us in this squad too. I think he'll be a fan favorite from the get-go. Guys, Mr. Dependable, Mr. Iron Man. He can start at the 2, the 3. He can guard a little bit of 4 spot as well, but he's available. The Knicks have made him feel like a kid again, right? If you go back to the draft, he thought he was going to be a Knick. He was hoping he would be a Knick, and his mum was in the front row, and it was they were sharing a laugh because they're in the place to be, the right place to be. And Bridges talked about Tibbs as a coach, being a great coach. Who doesn't want to play all the time? So Leon Rose got us the right fit too. Is Karl Anthony Towns a Leon Rose Knicks culture fit, a Tibbs fit? Why did we maybe overpay a little bit in terms of the picks to get the right fit? Because you could set your franchise back a long way if you get the wrong guy. Look what all the Harden mess has created for all these clubs. Look at the Kevin Durant mess as well. Kyrie Irving going to different squads and giving them headaches. Look at Paul George leaving the Clippers now. Kawhi being, a walking, mash unit now. Right. Teams in Phoenix now with Bradley Beal getting the wrong fit. Right. All these stupid clubs, front offices, just getting these guys that don't fit, don't play hard, aren't available. All these things. Right. And the competition is opening up. The East is wide open. We'll see what happens. If Denver regresses and the West opens up, we might find ourselves in the NBA Finals against, a Minnesota, against Dallas, and I think the Knicks are as close to winning a championship since 1999. It's been a long time coming, but 55, 60 wins is on the table right now. This squad is 90% finished, and we just got to put the final touches on this deal. I don't expect Leon to make a major move before the start of the season in terms of like a cat move or anything like that, but I think he will swing either a sign and trade for Precious or he'll sign someone for the $5 million and just get another vet minimum backup. But it is very interesting to see what's happening with Kevin McCullough, who hasn't got a deal yet, is coming off a surgery. He did slip to the New York Knicks, but I think he'll probably end up on a two-way. So Mikal Bridges stopped short of making any predictions. He said, "I've only been here 50 minutes," in terms of bold predictions. So he's a smart man. Right. We've got the Olympics coming up. Our guys are going to be resting. Right. No Jalen Brunson Hart in the Olympics, fam. As our CPs put out, that there's some noise around Cat. I mean, the Cat noise just never seems to go away. I do think that it's probably more on the Minnesota side. Contractually, they've been cheap. Committing to the huge tax bill that they have, there's very few clubs around the league that they could use for leverage. You know what I mean? It's easy to use Leon, the Knicks, the situation with Randall. It's easy for them to use that, right? Because how many clubs around the NBA is a clear fit for Cat? Right, so I think where there's smoke, there's fire in terms of agent play and all of that. But I would just be really, really surprised if Leon swings that deal, or there is anything in that deal. Bricks, what's up? Keep OG at 30 minutes tops to prevent his injuries. Mikal can switch to the 3 when resting and gives Dante extra minutes at the 2. 100% OG. I agree. Anything to get Dante's minutes up a little bit, keep OG fresh. I'm all for it, man. And look, what has OG been talking about? Wanting a big role offensively. Let OG run the bench. Let OG get 15, 18 minutes with the bench lineup so that he can put up 10 shots. Let OG run with Josh Hart and Deuce. He can be the anchor of our defense with the bench as well. And yeah, you let Dante fly with Mikal as well. But look, obviously OG will start. I'm not saying to put him on the bench. I'm saying he can run, he can run a lot of minutes with the bench throughout the game, because you need one bona fide shooter scorer with the bench from the starting unit. Buzzer says, "I thought we had more. We didn't have any more first to trade. Now we got first, fam, but they might not be our own, because we can't trade any more of our own until 2030 and a pick swap. But we have Detroit's, and we have the Washington Wizards pick, fam." As I bring it up on the screen once again, so you guys can see our pick compensation courtesy of no trade clause. So as you see, Buzzer, next year there's the Detroit and the Washington one, but they're very weak, heavily protected. So we could trade one of those. But what is that going to mean to a club? Then they don't know if they're going to convey or not. It's top 13 protected, and the Washington one is top 10 protected. Washington's going to be in the 10th worst teams, and Detroit is going to be, within the top 13 worst teams. So, it's not going to convey, but the Knicks can move those, and we can move a pick swap in 2030. Next season, I think next season we'll be able to flirt with the 2028 pick swap. Well, actually, no, it's already being swapped with Brooklyn. So, yeah, we don't have a whole lot to play with, fam. We need to start being really, really shrewd with these future picks, right? But the good thing is our roster is there, man. We're ready. We need to go in and we need to win 55 plus wins, lock up the second seed. So the Stepien rule. Just seen Sin Nick's comment, explaining why only odd year picks and not even years can be moved. We still have all of our even years picks, right? Yeah, hopefully that gives you clarity on that, fam. So yeah, you basically, with the Stepien rule, every team needs to own a first every other year, right? So, the NBA introduced that to avoid teams just going crazy. Otherwise teams would have just traded their next 10 picks for an all-star. So every team must have a first round pick every other year or a swap. Now, thankfully, because of the Jalen Duren draft, where the Knicks traded out, we got Jalen Brunson. Everyone kicked up a fuss that we didn't get a pick. That is helping us right now, because after the Bridges trade, we still have Detroit and we still have Washington's first round pick next year. The problem is that they're heavily protected and they're most likely not to convey, but they're still tradable. And then you can only trade picks 7 years out. That's another limit as well. So the Knicks have only been able to trade up to 2031. But as the new calendar year kicks on, we'll be able to then, in the future, we'll be able to trade one more pick moving forward, and a pick swap in 2030 as well. So that is how that all works. Dorkosaurus says no to cat. Yep. Yeah, and Coach says the same thing as well. Salute, Coach. I'm not the best at explaining it, and I know the CBA is like it's an encyclopedia in terms of that, but the basis is that teams don't mortgage their future, right? And it's still a huge factor for most clubs as well, as they try to get talent in the door. Now, what's going to help the New York Knicks long term is that we've got some very, very below market cheap contracts on our books. That's why I don't want to give up Deuce McBride for a Walker Kessler. For me, there's so many reasons why that doesn't make sense to me. Deuce is still on one of the best contracts in the league for 2 more years. That enables team building. Right, it lowers your payroll, and especially if they're a huge rotation player, who is very, very productive as well. So trading Deuce McBride when you've already got a team that's stacked makes no sense, right? If you have to move Deuce McBride to get an all-star, yes, you do that. You don't let that hold things up. But you don't trade Deuce McBride to get another fringe big or a backup, a starter who's basically not as good as Mitch. Anyway, so Deuce is an amazing contract. You keep that for 2 more years. He's highly productive and still improving. Dante DiVincenzo, right? Luckily, we have him for 3 more seasons. He's on a team-friendly deal. If Devo hit the free agent market this offseason, he'd be earning 20 plus. But fortunately, Leon locked him up at 12 million, 13. Josh Hart's earning 18 million for 3 more seasons now, or 4 more, as the extension kicks in, right? As the CBA kicks in and the TV deal, his 18 million is going to look like a steal, right? Tobias Harris is earning 25, right? Who would you prefer? If you ask 29, 30 GMs around the league, who would you prefer, Tobias Harris or Josh Hart? I can guarantee 29 or 30 GMs will say Josh Hart. And he's earning less as well. Lots been made about OG's contract, 42 mil, right? What's going to happen when the TV deal goes up? You've already got Karl Anthony Towns on 60, Zach LaVine's on 50, Damian Lillard is on 60, right? You could argue that those guys aren't even as impactful as OG Anunoby, as Damian Lillard's in the back nine of his career. Zach LaVine is also not a winning player, and he's not durable as well. And there's questions over Karl Anthony Towns being a two-way player. So I don't think OG was even an overpay, in my opinion. I get people just see the number and they go crazy because it is a lot of money, but in the scheme of things, it's not. Mikal Bridges is on 2 more years at 25, 24. That's really, really, a cheap contract as well, friendly deal. And of course, Mitchell Robinson, when healthy and as an NBA starter, is on one of the best center contracts, being 14, and then it'll be 12.9, less than the mid-level after next season. So this enables team building, and we're in a great situation right now, making moves on the margins, drafting some rookies like Huck Porty, who can be cheap for multiple years and develop him into being a backup big if they move on from Jericho when he becomes a free agent and needs to get paid as well. You get a cheap potential rotation piece in Bates-Diop for $1 million, and then you've got 2 to 3 other rookies on rookie scale deals for multiple seasons as well. So, Brock Aller and Leon, they're thinking about the future. They've planned this really well. They're smart. You look at what Denver's trying to do as well. They're trying to elevate rookies after each season. When you lose Uncle Jeff, you lose Bruce Brown, and then you lose KCP, and you've got no money to spend. The only thing you can do is to elevate rookies. And if you see what the Knicks are doing, they're kind of doing the same thing. Because, when the time comes, if they do lose another piece, or this season we lost Isaiah, we drafted Huck Porty, maybe in a year's time, he's ready to get minutes. Maybe he's ready right now. If when Deuce becomes a free agent, he's going to command a big deal. In 2 years, we'll have Tyler Kolek, assumingly ready to step in. So these guys are planning. Dorkosaurus, salute. Appreciate the contract info context, homie. No, appreciate you. Keep things buzzing. Yeah, Dimitri says those contracts are terrible compared to OG's. Definitely. Especially Zach LaVine. They can't find a team to take him, even offering compensation. Right. Tars TV says Jaylen Brown, Tatum, 63 mil. That's right, fam. So yeah, the 42 for OG. Most people, I understand, were concerned about his durability, not necessarily the number. I get that. If you're not durable, 42 million is an albatross. But just the number alone is very reasonable. One of the best two-way players. We're asking you guys, right, who won the offseason? If we talk about Philly, what's the Paul George deal going to look like? Right. Philly's getting praise right now, but what's it going to look like in another 2 or 3 more years? That's why Steve Ballmer and the Clippers didn't want to give him that 4th year, fam, and Philly went there, man. 4 years, 212. Like, I don't know, man. That might look really, really bad in 2 seasons, man. The door might open for the Knicks even further. Could you imagine 2 more years if Joel Embiid ain't healthy and Paul George regresses and he can't stay healthy as a 35-year-old? Philly could be in the lottery, fam. They probably won't because Tyrese Maxey is real, but Philly's kind of mortgaged their future, giving Paul George that deal, right? Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about what Paul George will look like in 2 more seasons, maybe even next season. See, if the Knicks lose a body or two, they'll still be a 45, 48 win team, and a second, third round playoff team, right? If you need more evidence, look at this season. We saw that, right? If OG goes down, there's Bridges. Randall returns. We're still a 50-win team. If Randall misses time, we've seen it already. This team can win 50 games, except we're assumingly going to have a better bench, a deeper bench, and rookies on the come up. So the Knicks are coming in stocked, man, loaded right now. Yeah, we've got Summer League on right now too, fam. The Salt Lake City Summer League and the Vegas Summer League kicks off on July 12 with the Knicks' first game on July 13. We'll be live post-game after every night, fam. Our next show Thursday night will be live with a guest, John Schmelk of the New York Giants, diehard Knicks fan and Knicks season ticket holder. I look forward to talking to John and you guys on Thursday night about this off-season. Hopefully there's some more moves to talk about. Friday, we'll talk to Bill Pito, MSG Networks, and get Bill's thoughts on today's action and what else is buzzing at that point on Friday too. And then basically, it'll be it, man. It'll be Summer League. Friday morning, that might be the day of the game, right? So when we talk to Bill in the morning, I'll be putting that out there. So, yeah, team building's good. The Knicks' future sound. We're built for sustainable success. Dude, I was hyped in 2013. Not going to lie, getting Marcus Camby back, getting, Jason Kidd, Rasheed Wallace, Tyson Chandler, Melo, Amari, Pablo, Chris Copeland, Shump. What a mishmash of players, man. But we knew it was short-lived, man. We knew it was all in with Melo in his prime, but those other major pieces on the decline, right? Fortunately, Rasheed Wallace broke his foot. Kurt Thomas as well gave us that game in Utah. Ever since then, man, I think the Knicks still had a shot that season, but Indiana was quite formidable. But right now, we are clearly the second best team in the East, right? And we beat Boston during the regular season as well. So a lot of people won't look at that as a serious sample, but obviously they weren't taking it as seriously. But Knicks have armed up, got a better squad, more talent, more healthy, and we're coming in, I think, to take Boston down. Now, Boston have won the chip. Is there a little bit of a hangover, right? The Wings, their legacy is kind of there now that they've already secured the one championship. I'll be very curious to see how Boston come into the season because there was already question marks over their toughness. There was already some questions over their mentality. They'll come into the season as favorites, but most of the time, if you pay attention, there is some kind of a hangover when you do win. Denver suffered it. Most teams suffer, some kind of a hangover. The Knicks could capitalize early on, man. But us against Philly, it's going to be a bloodbath, man. Your old head says what that squad should have won it all. The vets were too old. What a team, man. And Dimitri says spree. Fire. All the losses to Indiana, that one did really, really hurt because obviously, we forced it to game 6. Roy Hibbert with the block on Melo. But we just couldn't stay healthy. We had some young pieces, Shump, J.R. Smith, Kidd. The squad was so stacked. Man, it was unbelievable. Yeah, coach says the Bucks have fell off real fast. Unfortunately, they made that all-in move to swap Drew Holiday for another dynamic scorer, but unfortunately it just hasn't paid off, man. There's too much on the shoulders of Giannis and Middleton and they're really not the best scorers. They're going to have to do all the defending. So I'll look for Orlando and Indy to come up, but obviously, the headlines have been taken by the Knicks this offseason. The thing is, we just made our move early. We did the trade before the draft. Everyone's talking about Paul George now and Philly being up there as a contender. And I wait to see, fam. I would love to see Philly Knicks on opening night. I know a lot of people are talking about Boston Knicks. Maybe they pivot and they give Boston Indiana again, or they give Knicks Indiana. I think a smart move would be to give Knicks Philly again, now that Philly have armed up, and Knicks bounced Philly. That'll be something really good to look at as well. But yeah, Heat's on the decline. Matthew, the reason the healthy Heat teams play Boston really well is because they play physical. Yeah, you can be physical with Boston, I feel. Al Horford's another year older. Chris Stapps won't be ready until like December. Reports that Chris Stapps, off the surgery. I mean, all the things are, all the ducks are in a row now for the New York Knicks to capitalize. I think get off to a great start. There'll be some continuity and cohesion already there with Mikal too. Look, if I'm Dante DiVincenzo as well, he's a great team guy, but he will also have a chip on his shoulder if he is coming off the bench, right? I mean, that's just normal. That's got to be human nature. He broke the franchise shooting record, and had his best season of his career. And what does he get? He comes off the bench. Any player that believes in themselves is going to come in with some fire, with that scenario. But as I said, I think he'll get plenty of minutes. He'll be the sixth man, and if you're putting a bet, maybe put a bet on Dante DiVincenzo being sixth man, right? He might come in and average 16, 18 points off the bench. He's going to get those threes up real quick, and they're going to run with Josh Hart, I think. What do you guys think? Dante sixth man? That could be the safest bet of the Knicks season. We talked about tonight McCullough and why he slipped. He had a scope surgery, didn't participate in any pre-draft workouts or combine. The Knicks could have got a steal with Kevin McCullough because he's better than the 56th pick. It's purely about the health of him. And he's a Tibbs guy, but he hasn't got his contract yet, right? Is he going to be part of some kind of move? Are we waiting to see what other pieces fit in first before giving him his deal? But I'm probably going to guess that he'll get a two-way at some point, and the Knicks look to fill 2 more spots with veterans, assuming it's either Precious also coming back, Rokas potentially getting a spot too, if it all works out. But the Knicks aren't done making moves. There will be one more move or two. I think a signing or a sign and trade. Hopefully it's nothing with Danny Ainge, though, as Ainge is starting to play games now, and he is wanting a couple of first-round picks for a guy who's in Summer League, 3rd year. And be interesting to see what Leon does, man. We do need a big. There aren't many bigs out there. Precious should come back. Let's see what we can do. Is Nick Richards the guy for you? Let us know as we'll wrap this thing up tonight. The Knicks have interest in another power forward. Could that also mean that Precious's future might be a little cloudy, right? Or is this guy just an end of the bench salary filler for later in the season? But Davis Bertans could be headed to the New York Knicks for the $5 million exception or less. We'll wait to see, right? But all eyes are on Summer League next up as Rokas and the rookies set Vegas on fire. Could be the best Knicks Summer League squad for a long time. And we're going to be live post-game after buzzing with the best chat in the biz. I appreciate you guys. Apologies if I didn't get to any questions. Put it in the comment section and I'll get to it. But otherwise, we'll see you on either Thursday night live with John Schmelk, or tomorrow. If there is some news, we'll be back tomorrow night, guys. Salute Knicks Nation. Have a blessed evening. And I'm getting ready for a big summer league and season ahead, as Mikal Bridges is now in the building officially, all smiles, and I'm feeling like a kid again, man, like a first day in school with his brothers. In this situation, Tibbs got to be the happiest man in the building if we're keeping it a B. What do you guys think? Forget Brunson, Hart, and the Villanova guys. I think Tibbs got to be the happiest man right now, getting a guy who doesn't miss too. And we're coming for Philly, and we're coming for Boston. We're coming for the NBA Finals this time. We're for real. Peace, everyone. Salute.